Which one for photography and which one for video? Hi there, I'm Peter Forsgård, an Olympus visionary from Helsinki, Finland. But before we start, please consider subscribing to my channel and hit that bell so you get notified when there's a new video online. My channel is all about you getting to be a better photographer. And if you like this video, you can give it a thumbs up also. As you probably know, I have been testing the E-M10 Mark II and E-M10 Mark III cameras for a couple of days now, and I made a video last Tuesday, that actually posted it on last Tuesday, about the best settings for photography for E-M10 Mark II. And the settings for E-M10 Mark III is about the same. The menu system is a little bit different, but you can find the same settings when you take your manual and check out that video. You'll find them. But there was one slight mistake what I made when I made the video about E-M10 Mark II's best settings. It's not a big thing, but I forgot all about that there is superfine compression for JPEG, and for some crazy reason it's not an option by default. You have to turn it on or make it available. In the E-M10 Mark II version you need to go to the special menu J and choose Set, and then on the first option choose SF and press OK, and now it's available on compression settings when you're choosing the JPEG. And in the E-M10 Mark III version it's in the special menu F, and you do the same thing so you can find it. I'm sorry about that I made a mistake last time, but somebody gladly pointed that out in the last video's comment, and always when you find something that there might be wrong or you might be thinking differently, please comment on the comment section below this video. It always helps. It helps me and it helps all the other people who are watching these videos, so we can teach each other about Olympus cameras. Thanks for pointing that out. And let's dive into the topic of this video. Which one would I choose for photography and which one would I choose for video? Both of these cameras are very good choices and very good value for the money. They work very well for both of these tasks, photography and video. For normal everyday snapping, the Mark III version is just fine, but there is one thing. If you need to go into more advanced photo modes that are baked into the camera, I would choose the E-M10 Mark II version. And I will tell you why. With the Mark II version of E-M10, you have a better control of exposure and white balance on these advanced photo modes. In the Mark III version of the E-M10 camera, in the advanced photo modes, most of them have only all automatic modes, so you cannot control the exposure fully and you cannot control the auto white balance. It's not in everywhere, but in the E-M10 Mark II you have more options. So if you need to use those advanced photo modes, I would choose the E-M2 version. Both of these cameras have a panorama mode, which is kind of nice, but the funny thing is that the camera does not make the panorama. It doesn't stitch the pictures like some other cameras can, and maybe your phone can do this panning thing and it can stitch the photograph together. You need to go to either Lightroom or Photoshop or any other image manipulation software and do that in post. The only thing that the panorama mode does is give you these helping lines so you can easily overlap the next picture to the previous one, so that you have some overlapping and it's easier to stitch. And also there's the horizontal line, which makes it easier to hold the horizontal in the same place. But otherwise it works nicely. The problem is that you do not have so much control over the exposure or white balance. But I could not figure out if I could use, let's say daylight for auto white balance and constant exposure. It will change if there's a dark area on the other side and then there's light on the other side, the exposure will change, and that will make it harder for the software to stitch the panorama together. So if you're making panoramas, I would suggest that don't use the panorama mode. Just remember to overlap the consecutive images enough so that the software can stitch them better together. Because if the exposure changes, the white balance changes, it's a lot harder to get a decent panorama shot. And I think that's kind of silly feature if you cannot really use it. But on this, as I saw the picture that I made with Mark III version, it sometimes can work really nicely, so you can try it. It can help, but it's not very good. And then in the last video of the EM10 Mark II, I was talking about the pop-up flash, which I don't have that much use. But in the Mark II version of the EM10, it can be used to control external Olympus flashes. Turn on the RC from the menu, and then you can control the power of the external flash that you can set, you know, for, let's say you're taking a portrait, you can set the flash on the side, and then so you don't have the light coming straight from the camera. And the pop-up flash can be as a fill-in flash and then trigger the other flash that is the main light for your subject. And that's a great option. If you use that, don't get the Mark III version, because I could not find it. I have no idea why they took it off, and I don't think it's a very good idea. I think they should have it on the Mark III version also. And then, if I had to choose between these two, the Mark III or the Mark X, the Mark II for photography, I would go for the older version. It's a slightly cheaper camera, and the photographic features aren't that much different, and the image quality isn't that much better in the new version. There's, of course, it's a slightly better, and this feels in my hand a lot better. But still, I would go for this. But for video, definitely version 3, because of the 4K that this can shoot. And then, what about these two lenses? I would get the pancake version. This is a really nice lens, and it has an electronic zoom, which is actually quite good if you do video. Well, we'll get to that in the later part of the video. But to be fair, either one you cannot go wrong if you want a nice entry-level mirrorless micro four thirds camera. Both of these cameras can do excellent photographs and good videos. But as I said, if you like to do also video work or video filming your holidays and stuff like that, I would go for the Mark III version because of the 4K. And in 4K, the biggest thing is that you can crop the image in post. And usually when you downscaling the image, the full HD, the 4K image to full HD, the quality gets a little bit better. So definitely Mark III for video. And speaking of video, let's dive into the video features of this camera. To use the video, you just turn the dial to movie mode. And this screen opens. Here you can choose which resolution you want your video to be. I would choose 4K, but if you want to use movie filters or art filters, then you have to choose full HD. And the other two options are movie clips, which is actually a way to make a short movie of your vacation, for example. You just turn that on, tell the camera how long the clip will be, and then when you're making a video, it automatically stops in 16 seconds, and then you take a next 16-second clip and it adds it to the other clip, so it combines all your clips to a one movie in the camera. So when you get home, you already have a movie of your vacation. For casual video shooting, that is a very, very good option, but it's only full HD, remember that. And then there is the high-speed mode, which makes the movie in 120 frames per second, but it's only HD. That's 720p. But you have it if you want to film that kid jumping into the water or doing some skateboarding or whatever you like to do with you know, slow motion, or play around with slow motion. You have it, but remember it's only 720p, which is HD. And with 4K, which is actually Ultra HD on this camera, you can choose either 24p, 25p or 30p, which is very good. You have different frame rates for different purposes. Then there are some other settings that you might want to change in the menu. If you record the sound with your camera, then please turn the wind noise reduction on. It helps you if you do outside, the wind doesn't, you know, make that ugly sound in your video. But I would not recommend using the microphone on this camera, because you cannot put an external mic on this, and there's no microphone jack. If you need to have a decent sound on your video, you need to use an external recorder on this one. If you have a camera that is capable of doing 4K, I think they should put a microphone jack and a headphone jack to monitor the audio. I think it's a must in any cameras, and it's a big fail that they don't have it on this one. And then this camera has a very good 5-axis image stabilizer, which is really good because you can do handheld videos, but there's one setting that you might want to do and actually recommend that it kind of like you have to do it. Turn the image stabilizer to MIS2, then you only have the sensor shift as your stabilizer, and it turns off the digital stabilizer, which can make the image wobbly a little bit, and that doesn't look nice, and your image quality is better and your movie is more pleasant to watch. And if you have a electronic zoom like this pancake lens here, set the electronic zoom speed to low, because then the zooming is nice and smooth. It doesn't the fast or the normal is actually too fast, and also when you have it on low, the noise is much less, and it doesn't, you know, interfere with the audio of your video. And what's great about it, you can zoom from the touch screen. It goes like this. You press the small arrow in the side, and then the T and V, and then you just press that, and then you have the up arrow, a down arrow, and it makes nice and smooth zooming. It's a very good feature. The other option for electronic zoom is the 12 to 50 millimeter electronic zoom lens. I made a video about the whole lens, so if you're interested in that, please go check it out. I like the electronic zoom so much in video, not in photography, but in video, and I wish Olympus could make a fast lens. I mean, and with fast I mean fast aperture video lens that has an electronic zoom, so that I could use it on my video work. That, I think it could be great. And from a touch screen you can also control the ISO, aperture, shutter speeds, and the audio levels. And this is a very handy way. It doesn't make any sound when you recording your video. You can touch the screen slightly, but when you touch the screen, you touch it only slightly and very gently, so the camera doesn't move when you change the settings. And the touch screen can also be used for focusing, if you have the automatic focusing on when doing video. It's really great feature. You can just, you know, point the place where you want the camera to focus, and that's it. This was this Friday's video, and thanks for watching, and bye for now.